All right. Good morning, everybody. Make sure I'm not on mute. All right. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. We were not have known if I would have been done it to a call.
So we're in the bottom.
All right. So we're on the bottom. We're on the top of Kuf Dalet Amud Beis. So yeah. So we're still a blot and a half behind. We'll get there. It's a Shem. We'll catch up today.
Today can be
it's the top line. All right. Also,
you'll be able to crank.
Reminder: if we do happen to finish a parak, and then the singing begins. If I raise my hand, that means the singing stops.
The wrong people.
You know, it's not even people. It's not even people. It's not even people. It's a person.
You know when a kid makes trouble in school, they kick the kid out, gets suspended, and then the principal comes and yells at everybody in the class.
All right, so there are two lines at the top of Kuf Dalet Amud Beis. So basically, we were discussing two issues yesterday. One issue is that after when a woman is collecting her mazonos and she does not go ahead and collect her ksuba, right? So we said she gets 25 years. Right, she gets 25 years. So if she doesn't try to collect the ksuba for 25 years, she loses on her ksuba. So the question was, is it talking about when she's 25 years when she was living at her deceased husband's house, or is it talking about 25 years when she was living in her father's house? In the Mishnah. And the other was, are we talking about when she doesn't have a ksuba, or even if she has a ksuba and she doesn't collect for 25 years, then she loses out. So two lines at the top of Kuf Dalet Amud Beis. Sholach le Rav Nachum bar Rav Chisa le Rav Nachum bar Yaakov. We're going to try to do a blonde half today.
Yeah.
Rabbeinu Rabbeinu. K'shtar ksuba yaitze b'tachas yada machlekes. O k'shein shtar ksuba yaitze b'tachas yada. Right? Do we say that we're talking about a case when she's holding a shtar, she loses out after 25 years, or machlekes only the case she doesn't have a ksuba? Then she only has 25 years, but if she has a ksuba, then she collect forever. And also, and Allah is like, who? Is it like the Chachamim, or is it like the Rav Meir in our Mishnah? The machlekes is when she doesn't have a shtar, then she has up to 25 years to go ahead and claim it. She could always go ahead and collect the ksuba. But Allah is like the Chachamim was the second opinion of the Mishnah. Who was referring to a case of she's 25 years when she lives in her father's house, but if she's living in her family house, then she has forever, because maybe she's embarrassed because they're always doing such good things for her that they feel embarrassed to go ahead and collect the ksuba. So therefore 25 years does not run out. So Kiyas Rav Dina Rav Shimon ben Pazim Rav Shimon Levi Mishum Bar Kapar Leishon Elamad. I'm talking about the 100 and 200, right, about Tosefes. But the extra amount the guy wanted to add to the ksuba, yeshla, she does have it. However, Rabbi Yavo, Amar Rabbi Yechna, feel to seves, no, she doesn't have the seves. Then Rabbi Aibu, Amar Rabbi Yanai, tonight ksuba dummy, right? Anything that was written in the ksuba is like the ksuba itself, and therefore the tosefes, we're on Kuf Dalet Amud Beis, right? So either tosefes is also can be is the same status as the mana or masai. Amar Rabbi Yanai, says Rabbi Yanai, second word of the line. Wait over here, you got it? Yeah. Amar Rabbi Yanai, tonight, ksuba dami. So Itra now, further we learn. Amar Rabbi Ava, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav, Leishon Elamon Masai, we're always talking about the one of 200, about the Seves, Yesha, but the additional that he added on, that she can collect even after 25 years. Amar Le Rabbi Ava, Rav Huna, Amar Rav Hachi. So he says, so when he said, even the Seves, so he says, Amar Rav Hachi, did Rav say this? Right? So he says, Amar Rav Hachi. So he says, Samarlei, Ishkin Kamarta, oh Ishkin Kamarta. So Ishkin Kamarta, oh Ishkin Kamarta. So he says, basically, when he said this, he said, have a drink, right? Have a drink after he said that Rav said this. So why did he say have a drink? Was it because he wanted to be the shtika, like to quiet him? In other words, you're speaking nonsense, or is like a shkoyach, let's make a l'chaim, Samarlei. I meant to say that I said, have a drink to quiet you, because I do not agree with that statement of Rav that Tosefes that she does have, because the Tosefes is like the Tanai Ksuba. Fine.
It was never an issue.
So Chamse, there's two dots. Chamse the Reb Chia Aricha Itas Achve Havi. So the mother-in-law of Reb Chia married, right, his brother. Right, it actually doesn't really make a difference for the story, but his mother-in-law is basically his sister-in-law, the Almana Beis Savia Havi. Right, so this is the important fact. So she became widowed. And she moved to her father's house. So that's the important thing. It doesn't make a difference really that it's his mother-in-law, or it's not really an issue for the story. It was just that was the facts of the case. But she was a widow. He inherited his brother. There were no children. She moved into her father's house. So he was basically had to support the widow from his brother's assets. So the Zana Esim Shanim. So he went ahead and he supported her for 25 years. The Beinas, right? And the house that she was, that she went to Beis Avia. The Saif. In the end, Amrali, after 20 years, she said, okay, no, where's my mazanas? Amrala. So he told her, last lach mazain. You don't get any mazanas, you're done, 25 years. So she says, okay, havali ksubas. Ksubah, give my ksubas. Amrala, like mazaini, islach, like ksubah, islach. You don't have mazanas, you don't have a ksubah, you're done. So Tavase, Ladina, she took him to Din Kamei, the Rabbi Bar Shila. So based on the Rabbi Bar Shila. So Amalei, Emily is a gufa duvda hechiapi. Okay, no, tell me what happened. Tell me the facts of the case. So Amalei, Zin Sasim Chameshanim, the Beinasa. I went ahead and I supported her for 25 years, right, in the house that she grew up in. And Bechai Damar, the Chavte, I'm telling you, and every day I used to go ahead and bring her I used to go ahead and serve her, put the food on my shoulders and schlep it there and feed her for 25 years. Samarlei. What's the reason why the Rabbanan say calls manshi base bala govak shuvah? So why do they say that when she's living in the house around Kufdal and Beis? Why, if she's living in the same house as the Yorshin, she can collect it forever, not even 25 years? Why? We say it wasn't that she was mocheles the ksuva; it was that she was embarrassed to ask because they're being so nice to her. So in this case, since you personally went ahead and brought her every single day, she had such gratitude for you. Right? This is because of that she was embarrassed. In other words, you thought you were doing, you're being a nice guy. You actually worked the opposite. You actually worked against you because now basically she was too embarrassed to ask for ksuba, therefore she can still claim her ksuba. So Zil, Havla, go ahead and pay her. So what happened?
See, you trying to be a good guy, it bites you.
Right? So lo ashkach. He didn't pay, he didn't listen. So kasavlai ajarachta anichse. So basically, he wrote a collection notice on the nechasim. So also look, I made the Rab. So now basically, who are we talking about? Reb Chia was not so happy, so he came for Rab. So you see what happened. He ruled against this. He gave this svar over here. So he ruled. Yeah, it was the right din. Sorry to break it to you. So I guess his mother was still there, right? The almana, she was still there in this case. She says, if that's the case, now he owes me. After they wrote the collection notice, there was payros from the fields. And he was still taking the payros in the fields because he ignored the collection. So I should also get those payros. So he said, okay, show me your collection notice. So he saw, he looked at the law having pay. Right? They can collect only from the estate of the deceased, but that was not written in there. That was not written in the collection notice. So you got a problem. It wasn't written properly. Okay, so in other words, you can't collect on it. Yeah, you got a problem here, lady. So Amrle, so she said to him, okay, tizav adrachta. So forget the adrachta. You should me the shlima yaimad azrachza adhashka. After there was a adrachta, and they announced that this field is being sold. So even during those times, she basically had the bias over that field, and she should get some of the assets from the payros. That's only when there's no mistake in the shar drachta. But if there was a mistake in the entire announcement of the collections, then you don't even get it from that point in time. Summerlay, I didn't you say a price tosofer? The price is tosofer. Who? Right. So in other words, and the sifra there was because it wasn't written, it's just a mistake by the sofer. It doesn't really change the validity. How he said, however, Amalei Rava Bahal like Alamila Tosofer. Over here, you can't say this is just a Tosofer, and therefore you can ignore that too. Right? The Baha Fila Rabbi Arshila type, because over here it was mistaken by the one who gave the psak. Tell me, Kara, who suffered because he held that what Hani Bahani Dide Mali Mahani. Because he thought that to go ahead and collect, it doesn't make a difference whether it's the assets of the deceased or the assets of Reb Chia himself. However, it's not true. Right? Sometimes she'll go ahead and improve the ones of her husbands. Right. In other words, that he'll go ahead and improve his own and not touch the deceased, right, and let it go bad. And she'll say then, right? You go, take yours, and then I'll take mine. Therefore, since she would be stuck with basically, if he can go ahead and force her to take either one, he'll give it to the ones that basically he allowed to deteriorate. Then she'll be stuck with that land, and then therefore she'll go ahead and be Maitzi Laz on basin. So therefore we say, no, that if you're going to go ahead and collect, it's not against all of his assets, only the assets against the deceased. And therefore it's known, she'll know to upkeep that field, not the other one, and do a bait and switch at the end. And therefore they won't be able to be Maitzi Laz al Beidina, and she can only go ahead and collect from the assets, and it is known only for the assets of the deceased. And therefore it won't be any issue. So Hajjan Allah, so Shnei Dayanim. She went to Beis Din, and they gave her a collection notice. But the collection notice was written properly. The Beis Din is a mistake, and therefore, since there was that collection notice was not written properly, it wasn't enforceable at all. And therefore, she lost out in that case because it wasn't written properly. She wasn't able to get the papers.
That's fair.
So Rabbi Chia did not have to give her ksuba?
In that case, he did not, right? Unless they would have, right? Unless they would have changed it. So Shnei Dayanim, Naya Mishnah, I think is the last pair. So Shnei Dayanim got a lot to do still. All right. So Shnei Dayani Gezeros Hayu Yerushalayim. There were two judges of Gezeros of decrees in Yerushalayim at the bottom of Kuf Daled on the base. Jack Yerushalayim Admon v'Chanan ben Avishal. Chanan Amar, so first it said Chanan Aimer, so he's one of the judges of Gezeros, of decrees. Amar Shnei Dvarim Admon Aimer. So he said two things. Shiva, Chanan Amar Shnei Dvarim, Admon Amar Shiva. So Chanan said two things, Admon said seven. So Mishalach, so for the first one, Mishalach L'Minasayav, person goes overseas, the Ishto and his wife, who he's still married to.
That's Chanan.
Yes. And he's still married, right? And he left for long months at a time. And she needs support, right? He's required the support. So Chanan Omar, Chanan says, Tishba, the site for Tisha b'Chila. If she goes ahead, she can collect right now. She does not have to make a shvua right now when she takes her mazonos. Only at the end, if she's collecting her ksuba, does she have to make a shvua that the husband did not leave her any other assets. However, Nechlaku, Allah, B'nai Kohanim, Gedalim, now the argue, this is Bamra, Tishba, B'tchilu, B'sayf, she has to make a shvua both in the beginning, i.e., when she's collecting mazonos, now when her husband went along seas, that she can go ahead and collect from the assets. Let's say he sold a field or whatever it was, she can go ahead and collect, from the field, because that was the responsibility was from before. So Tishba, B'tchilu, B'sayf, and Amar Reb Daisi, Ben Hirchanas, Kedivrehem, and Rabbi Daisi rules like them that she's Tishba, B'tchilu, B'sayf. And Amar Rabbi Yechim and Zakai, Yafel Machanan said, well, like Tisha El B'Sayf, she only makes a shvur when she collects her ksuba, that she didn't collect anything else, but not when she takes her mazaris. Right? Zak the Gemara. I Ramini Asukasha, we said Shnei Dayanim Gezeros. I Ramini Shloisha Dayanim Gezelos. Hay B'Shlayim. There were three judges of Gezelos, right? Of thefts to prevent stealing. And Admod ben Gadai, the Chanan HaMitzri, the Chanan ben Avishal. So I kasha tlas atre. First of all, it's a kasha. It says This is 3, and that's 2. And also, Gzeros in Kasha Gzeros Agzelos. One says Gzeros decrees, that one says Gzelos, right? That's so Bishlam Atlas, that's right. Lokasha, it's not a contradiction. Why? Because we say, let's see one thing for a second. Yeah, both have Admon, yeah. So why? In other words, what was not Machshiv, I guess, Chanan and Mitzri, right? Was that because he wasn't as important as the other 2, and the other one included all 3, even the ones that weren't as important. So Ella Gzeros Gzelos Kasha, so it's also Kasha. Some Rav Nachum Bar Yitzchak, no, Shayu Geizrin Gezeros Al Gezelos, right? They made Gezeros decrees to prevent Gezela, right? Thefts or damages. Kedetanos on the rice. Kitman, the tia, if one goes ahead and damages someone's new sapling, Rabbi Yosi Aimer, guys, so Rabbi Yosi Aimer, Geizre Gezeros V'Shalayim Aimrim, those who made decrees on Gezelos. Those in Yerushalayim, the Tia Bashnas in the first year Shtei Kesef and Bash Shtei Shanim. If it was 2 years, then Arba Kesef was worth 4 Kesef. Even if that's not the exact value, you go ahead and that's like the fine, the penalty for it to prevent people from damaging others' saplings. Whose one is this? Nachum says Rav Nasani, the Tanya Rav Nasani. He's also one of the people who made Gezer decrees in Yerushalayim. The Chachamim did not agree to him that with him. The Sulek, and there's no others. There were 394 Bati Din Yerushalayim, and connect them and connected each one of them. It was Bati Knesiyos, so connect them Bati Midrashos, and it was big shuls and base medrashes, or connect them Basi Seifrim, and places of learning in schools. So Dayan and Tuvavi, and furthermore, there's more judges. V'chiyam Rina, because Agayze Xeris Kamina. Yeah, there were many. There were hundreds of thousands of judges, but that which we list are only those who were Geyser Xeris that decrease. And Amar Rav Yehuda Maramasi Geyser Xeris. Right, this is going to be the line we're discussing today. Shevi Shalayim Hayunaitlin Scharon Tishim V'Tisha Mana Mishumas Halishcha. They used to go ahead and take a salary of 99 mana. Right, from the Trumas Alishcha, from some of the Machzis Shekel that was collected, so they had a surplus. So that money would be used to pay the wages of these those Geizrei Gezeros who made the decrees. And Lo Ratzu, they didn't want Masilim. They want to add to them. So Gemara says Lo Ratzu, right? Well, they didn't want. They would say, "I know it's Atu B'Rishayas." We talk about Rishayim, right? Elo Leisaf, but even if it wasn't enough to support it, Af B'Shlo Ratzu, they don't want to take by Sifyalim. We would go ahead and add to them. And Karna, that was his name, Havishakel, Isteria, Mizakai, Visteria, Michai. He would go ahead and collect, right? He would take a fee, right? He would take an Istra from the winner and an Istra from the loser. The Dain Ludina, then or the claimant and the defendant, and then he would go ahead and judge their case. Should have Reese teach today. How could he go ahead and do this? Yeah, so you can't take a bribe. So he's taking a bribe. Maybe with don't take a bribe if you don't take them both of them. Dina, right? Because over there, maybe if you only take from one party or the winner, then maybe you can go ahead and pervert the justice. However, Karna came in the Shagam Tavaisans, he took from both of them, Loy Asi, let's Dina, he won't go mess the din. Dina Mishari, and even if this is the case, is a mutter even for both sides. But Tanya and a bribe, he should not go ahead and take a bribe. What's it going to teach you? It's telling you not to go ahead and say that he who is chayiv is really, pater, and he who is pater is like chayiv. Harik Farnamar, the pasuk where he says, let's have the mishpach. Right? The pasuk says you should not go ahead and pervert justice. Even if you're going to go ahead and rule properly, it still says do not go ahead and take a bribe. That's what he's taking as like a bribe. Even if I take a bribe, but I rule properly, I didn't do anything wrong, right? However, Karna b'toiras igra havishak. He took it as a fee, right? Court fee. Court fee. So let's see. I V'Toras Agra Mishari. Is a court fee okay?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta
Let's
eat.
see. Oh, you got to eat. Let's see. We learn in Mishnah. If one goes ahead and takes money to go ahead and judge, din of Batela. His din, his judgment is batal, is nullified. So Hani Mili Agar Dina Karn, Hani Dina. That's Agar Dina. That is a fee, a court fee. Court fee is usher. However, Karna Agar Batila Havishaka. He would take money, not because it's a court fee, rather you're paying him because otherwise he could have had a job. So since he could have been employed somewhere else, and now he's doing this in order not to be employed. So this is basically like you're covering his losses for not being able to work. Schar batal.
It's salary, basically.
Right.
It is.
No. But you have to call it differently because no. That's the whole point. The whole point is you're paying him because otherwise he'd be able to work. You're paying him for his loss because he's not allowed to work.
Oh, I see. Because he's not allowed to work.
It's like when you when you do jury duty. It's like when you do jury duty. They pay you $17. That's not your work for the day. They're paying you because otherwise you would have had a job and you can't go to your job to get paid. So they're paying you your schar batal. But the Gemara still wants to know. Yeah. So the Gemara says, now the question is that is that mutter? Right? Disgusting, right? Is the judge who takes money to go ahead and judge. Ella Shadina din, but his din works. Now, Hekedem, what's the case there? Ilema Agar Dina. If you're saying it, that it's a court fee, Dino din, but it's disgusting, but it's din is still din. We just learned Hanaitas Carlo din. If you take a court fee, it's Dina Batela, it's Batal. Ella, rather, what must be that's before? Rather, Aga Batela, right? In other words, he's getting paid for not being able to work for Tani Mechor Adayan, and says it's a lowly matter for a judge to do that. The person says, no. Hani Mili Batela, de la Mucha. That's something, if it's muchach, he can't do. We don't know whether he can do something else. Maybe he would have been unemployed. However, Karna Batela, Muchavi Shakel, he was like an expert. Why? Because Havi Shakel, he used to go ahead and you go to the wineries, you'd be able to smell a barrel and tell you whether the wine is good or not. So since he was an expert in that, so therefore, he could be out smelling wine and making good money. So therefore, we got to pay you not to smell wine. So too, if a Dayan has I don't know, if he has if he's a law degree from Yale, right? So then he would be able to, he should be reimbursed for what a a person from Yale is a lawyer should be, right? Like he had Rav Huna, like Rav Huna. The cabinet didn't come down. Amalo, Habili Gav Dalili Bacharkili Badil Chodina. Go ahead and someone. I usually work as a water drawer, right? So go ahead and pay me the fee of a water drawer, right? And then I'll go ahead and I'll judge the case. And I'm ready to see how much the blinding of the eyes of those who receive bribes. A person is something wrong with his eyes. Nice in Mamul, he goes to the doctor, he pays the money, something misrape, something misrape. He's a subject whether he's going to get healed or not. They nightlin shaved pruta. But a person who takes a bribe will even take a pruto, and will blind themselves. Shemar says, right? A bribe will go ahead and blind. 4 lines on the bottom. Tan Rabbanan. Because a yaver, right? Is he yaver? Yaver. So a bribe will blind. Right? The eyes of the chachamim. It's a kavachayim. The tipshim kavachayim certainly that's a chachamim. Certainly, a bribe will blind those that are foolish. It says also it will confuse the judgment of those who are tzaddikim. So v'isal tivei tzaddikim kavachem l'shayim and kavachem to wicked people. So the Gemara says, wait, midi tishim r'shayim b'nei dina. They know what they're judges. Allah he comes to say sheikh and yaver einei chachamim. And then as when a bribe will go ahead and blind as chachamim. Even if he's a great wise man. Once he takes the bride, he does not leave this world without blindness of the heart. And they'll go ahead and they'll pervert, they'll change the words of the tzaddikim. Turn the page. Even person tzaddik gomer, once again, it was ruling a case that takes the sheikhad, and if the das, without going ahead and him not, confusion of mind, confusing matters. And that's it. And this is all done to people who are chum. So Kiyasar Rabbi Amar, so Kiyasar Rabbi says Amar. So he said, Darash Abinachem Barkai, my the chesivas must be Melech b'mishpat Yamid Eretz. A king with judgment Yamid Eretz, v'ish trumas yarasena, right? And it says someone with gifts, he will overthrow it. So im doimed dayan lamelech, if a judge is similar to a king, shein tzerich leklum, who does not eat anything. Knows if you got a judge who's poor, so it's very easy to go ahead and sway justice, right? But if you have a judge who doesn't eat anything like a king, Yamid Eretz, then it will stand. Then it will stand up. The world will be able to stand up. But if he's like a kohen who goes, from grain to the Harasena, then it'll go. Then it will ruin the land. In other words, so you got to be more like a king and not someone who goes from granary to granary looking for handouts. And Rav Shila, hi, Dain the Shayla, Shilasa, puzzle of Medina Dina. And Dain who borrows, right? He's puzzled to go ahead and judge a case. That's only where he also doesn't go ahead and lend. About Islay, Shule, but he doesn't just borrow from people, he also lends to people, then less lend. Then he doesn't go ahead, then it's not an issue of him judging the case. Adi is a self, all Rava Shel Shilus Medebe Baramaria. So Rava, right? Right? He used to go ahead and borrow from the people from the house of Barmarion, even though he didn't lend to them. So how could he judge those cases? So over there, he didn't borrow from them, right? Because he really needed it. He borrowed from them because he wanted to make them feel chashuv, right? That he was borrowing from them. If he's borrowing from them, there must be chashuv people also.
That's on the bottom. There is some.
All right.
Number 8.
So yeah, won't that affect your ruling the case as well? If you feel bad for them, or if you want to give them honor?
Rashi, right? There's a l'chor means because Adam Chashuv, right? We see that Adam Chashuv, since he was Adam Chashuv, so therefore people will give them a chashiv. So a certain gadol stays at a guy's house all the time, so you have a certain chashiv to that person.
How do you judge that case?
So him it didn't make a difference. He wasn't really getting any favors from him, right? He was just So over my time the sheikh came in the Kabbalah shuchta. Once he takes a shuchta minei ikvele daite. Therefore, he becomes close to him, lagavitim, kagufo, and he was like the same person. And a person, since he takes something from somebody else, he feels close to them. He feels like one, and he's like himself. And a person can't see the chayva of himself. And my sheikhad, he comes in the word. What does the word sheikhad mean? Shehu chad, right? He is like one. You take a sheikhad, shehu chad. He is like one because he's like one with the person who takes the bribe from. And Abra Papa right? The person should not go ahead and judge for somebody who likes. The son in there where he hates the Rachim because if somebody likes, he's not going to see a chayv, and the son he he dislikes once he has merits. And Amar Abai hides him in Rabbanan, the Rachim lay, you got people in the city that like a certain rabbi. Love mishum demali tfei. It's not because he's a good person, right? He has good midos, right? A fine character. Because he doesn't go ahead and give them Muslim. And Amarava says, right? They all like me in the beginning. Came at the Havi Dina, and when I would judge them, some of them would hate me, some of them like me. The ones I ruled against hated me, the ones I liked me. However, but once they began to see that those who I said were chayiv, sometimes the next time they'll be, they would win their case. So right? Then if some of them like me, they all like me. Some of them hated me. They all hated me. In other words, it wouldn't be the same people over and over. It would be everybody basically was in the same ballpark. Tana Rabban. Now we're going to have 4 cases, and then we're going to stop at the 2 das towards us. Couple of das, but Tana Rabban Sheikhel Zikach Einat Sarich Loimar Sheikh and Mama. We're not only talking about Sheikh and Mama. Elafilu Sheikh and Dvarim. Even a bribe of words, Nami Aser. All right, but like see Betza, because it doesn't say Betza like Sikach. It doesn't say money you shouldn't take. It says Sheikhad, right? A bribe, so it can even be like nice words. Say Sheikhad. What's a Sheikhad? Dvarim Ki Yad Shmuel Havi Avamavra. So he was crossing a bridge. Asa Ugabra Yevla Yade. Very strange. Okay, fine. So he gave him his hand. He was crossing the bridge. He gave him his hand. So I guess they're walking together. It's funny because the Gemara talks about the Meshaycha Devarim, right? Is this of words or I guess any matters? Devarim is Dibur. How's he touch
It's
it?
not a physical thing. It's
No,
not
no, I know, but this is. I just want to say, how does he touch this here?
Such a lot of
All right, whatever. Fine. I don't know what this. All right. So he's saying. Time out.
example.
Yeah, it's funny because it says, "What's a bribe of dvarim of words?" And then it brings a case up. So he lent him a hand to lean on him, as Rashi says, right, to cross his bridge. Also, oh, what are you doing here? I have, a base. I have a court case in town. Right, he happened to be the judge. I am puzzled because you let me, you helped me cross the bridge. I am puzzled to be your judge. And I was sort of puzzled because it doesn't really. It's not a case of Sheikh Devarim. Okay, fine. I remember Havi Yossi, similar case. I remember Havi Yossi because Dina Dina. So Meimar, he was he's a judge, right? Parach Redifa Areshe. Right, and a feather flew upon his head. So also Gavra Shakli, a person. Oh, you got a feather out here. Samarlei, Mavi Disafa. What are you doing here? Samarlei, Dina Isli. Oh, I have a court case in town. Samarlei, Psila Lecholadina. I'm puzzled to be your judge because you were nice to me and you removed the feather. And Maruk for Havi Shadi, Rudka Kame, and Maruk was walking. There was some spit in front of him. So also Gavra Kasi covered it up. Samarlei, Ma'avi Desecha, what are you doing here? Samarlei, Dinisli, I got a court case in town. Samarlei, Psinu L'Choladina. I'm possible to go ahead and judge your case. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yosef, he used to go ahead and have a sharecropper, right? He owned a field. A sharecropper used to go ahead and bring his share of the wheat or the produce. So Havi Ma'aser, they call Mali Shabbos. He used to go ahead and bring it every Friday. Right, so concept the peri yema, was it? Right, the peri. So he used to go ahead and bring every Friday, right, this amount of fruits every a basket of fruit from the paradise of Rabbi Yishmael. Right. However, yemachad, one day, I instead of bringing on Friday, brought him on Thursday. Samarlei Maishna, why'd you bring it to me early? Why'd you give me my friends early? But thank you. Thank you for bringing it. Samarlei Dina Isli, right? I have a court case here today. I'm going to see you anyway. So instead of bringing it to you on Friday, I'm going to see you on court on Thursday, the court date, right? So, however, Loi Kabul Minei. He did not receive, he did not take it. He didn't take it. He didn't want to take it. And then not only that, I'm also, because I know that you offered basically to bring it a day early, I'm puzzled from judging you. So I said, so he went ahead, he hired other judges to go ahead and take the place to rule this guy's case. And and he was walking by, sort of overheard the court case, and he kept on thinking of svaras on behalf of the sharecropper. He didn't say anything, Rabbi Shmuel. He heard these svaras in his head, and I would have claimed this, I would have claimed this. So Amar, Tibach Nafshem Shemakavli Sheikha, right? Because can you imagine, what goes on with these people who go ahead and take bribes, right? They go ahead and take bribes, and because they're so blinded. Umani Shalom I didn't even take the money. I refused it. Talti, nevertheless, I was all these fars. So, and if my taking, right, right, and this was mine. He was offering my stuff to go ahead and take on Thursday. I refused it. Imagine those who take other people's stuff and they take it, right? Their judgments are in error. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Elisha, I see a very similar case. How Gabra Reishis the case? So Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Elisha brought Reishis the case, the first sharings for a coin. So Amalei Mehecha. So where are you coming from? So he brought to Rabbi. So Amalei Meduch Pala. So he says for this far off town. You couldn't find a coin, you had to give it to me? Or why'd you come so far? So I'm like, no, I came over here because I have a court case. I said, since I'm coming here, you're coming, I'll just give it to you. So he said to him, I'm puzzled for judging you. And also, he didn't accept it, and I'm puzzled judging you. So I said, the Rabbanon, he found the pair of Rabbanon to go ahead in order to go ahead and judge him. And while they were judging him during the court case, he was just watching and viewing, listening. And in his mind, he said, this guy should argue this or argue that in order to go ahead and win. And Amar, he said to himself, Tipach nafsham shemakabli sheichat, right? Those people, right, should suffer, right? The nafsham, or those who accept bribes. Oman, Yishlo Natalti. Me, I didn't take even if I did take Shalina Talti, it would have been of my own. So those who take people of bribes, certainly those people should are blinded, and therefore those people should suffer. All right, we'll stop here.
Good.
Have
Yeah.
a wonderful day. We'll continue.